Hey guys, I'm Ben. You are working harder than you ever have, yet somehow you feel broke. And if you think that's just in your head, I have bad news. It's mathematically true. Today we aren't talking about economics. We are talking about a silent robbery that is draining your life energy while you sleep. And by the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to hack the system so you don't get left behind. Most people think inflation is just prices going up. That is the safe, boring definition they teach you in school. I want you to look at it differently. Inflation is your labor becoming worthless. Think about it. You go to work. You trade 40 hours of your life, hours you will never get back, in exchange for a paycheck. You put that paycheck in the bank. You feel safe. You did the responsible thing. But while that money sits there, an invisible hand is reaching into your account and shaving off value. Let's play a quick imagination game. I want you to close your eyes and picture a receipt from Taco Bell in 2019. You get a cheesy gordita crunch, a drink, maybe a burrito. It costs you, what, $5 or $6? Now open your eyes and look at that same order today. It's $12. The food didn't get twice as good. The staff isn't working twice as hard. Your money just got cut in half. That difference isn't just a change in numbers. It represents hours of your life that you now have to work again just to get the same exact outcome. This is where the traditional advice fails our generation. Your parents told you to save 10%, put it in a savings account, and you'd be fine. That advice worked when money held its value. Today, following that advice is actually dangerous. It's like trying to fill a bucket with water while someone is drilling holes in the bottom. You can pour water in faster, aka working overtime or getting a side hustle. But if you don't plug the holes, you are going to drown. We need to distinguish between two critical concepts: nominal wealth and real wealth. Nominal wealth is the number you see when you log into your banking app. It's the flashy number. Maybe you have $10,000 saved up. That feels good. But real wealth is purchasing power. It is what that $10,000 can actually trade for in the real world. The number in your bank account stays the same for a year, but the cost of rent, gas, and groceries goes up by 10%. Your nominal wealth is stable, but your real wealth has crashed. You effectively took a 10% pay cut without your boss ever calling you into the office. This is why you feel tired. This is why the hustle culture feels like a treadmill. You are running at 6 miles per hour, but the ground beneath you is moving backwards at 5. You are barely moving forward. The terrifying part is that the government and the news stations are telling you that inflation is cooling down. They throw out numbers like 3% or 4%. But I'm going to tell you something they won't. That number is a lie, specifically designed to keep you calm. Your personal inflation number is likely double or triple what they claim it is, and understanding why that gap exists is the only way you can stop the bleeding. If you feel like you are being gaslit every time you turn on the news, you aren't crazy. You hear headlines saying inflation is down to 3%, but when you go to the grocery store, you spend $80 and come home with 2 bags of nothing. Here's the secret. The government's inflation number is not your inflation number. They calculate inflation using something called the CPI, or Consumer Price Index. Think of this as a hypothetical basket of goods that the average American buys. The problem is what they put in that basket. The government's basket includes things like flat-screen TVs, software subscriptions, and airline tickets. Thanks to technology, those things often get cheaper or stay the same price. But look at your basket. You aren't buying a new TV every month. You are buying rent, eggs, insurance, and gas. These are the things that are skyrocketing. So, while the official inflation rate might be 3% because TVs got cheaper, your personal inflation rate, the cost to simply exist, might be closer to 15 or 20%. Let's look at a phenomenon I call the bag of air. You walk into a store to buy your favorite bag of chips. The price is exactly the same as it was last year. You think, oh good, no inflation here. Then you open the bag. It is 60% air and 40% chip. This is called shrinkflation. Companies know that if they raise the price from $4 to $5, you will riot. So instead, they keep the price at $4 but shrink the package from 12 ounces to 10. You are paying the same amount for less survival. It is a hidden tax on your hunger, and the CPI often fails to capture this nuance effectively. Here's a real-life reality check. A study by Finance Buzz in 2024 highlighted that fast food prices, a staple for many people in their 20s, have risen anywhere from 39 to 100% over the last decade, drastically outpacing the official inflation rate. If your paycheck only went up by standard cost of living adjustments, you have mathematically fallen behind. This is due to sticky wages. Prices take the elevator up, but wages take the stairs. Your landlord can raise rent in a split second, but convincing your boss to give you a 20% raise to match the price of a Big Mac? Good luck. This discrepancy creates a massive blind spot in your financial planning. You think you are safe because you have cash in the bank, but that cash is suffering from a condition I call cash drag. It is a silent portfolio killer that is actually more dangerous to young people than a stock market crash. A market crash hurts, but it usually recovers. Cash drag is a permanent, irreversible loss of power, and most of you are unknowingly exposing your entire life savings to it right now. If you have noticed your grocery bill doubling despite what the news says, hit that like button so I know I'm not the only one seeing this. Now, we need to talk about why playing it safe with that cash is actually the riskiest move on the board. There is a dangerous lie programmed into your brain that says, if I don't know what to do with my money, I should just keep it in cash until I figure it out. It feels responsible, it feels prudent, but in an inflationary environment, holding cash is not playing it safe, it is playing to lose. Imagine for a second that your savings account is a block of ice sitting on your kitchen counter. It looks solid, it feels heavy, but if you walk away and come back an hour later, there is a puddle of water underneath it. The block is smaller. That is exactly what is happening to your checking account right now. You put $1,000 in there. Next year, it still says $1,000, but it only buys $800 worth of stuff. The number stayed the same, but the substance melted away. This is the cash drag I warned you about in the last section. It isn't just a lack of growth, it is the active destruction of your purchasing power. Let me give you a terrifying piece of math called the Rule of 72. Usually, finance gurus use this to tell you how fast your investment will double. But we can use it to calculate how fast your money will die. You take the number 72 and divide it by the inflation rate. Let's say the real inflation rate, not the CPI, but the actual cost of your life is around 7%. 72 divided by 7 is roughly 10. That means in 10 years, if you just save cash, your money will be worth exactly half of what it is today. Half. If you are saving for a house down payment and it takes you 10 years, you didn't save enough. You actually saved half of what you needed because the goalpost moved. We saw this happen in real time with the U.S. housing market. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, the median sales price of houses sold in the U.S. skyrocketed from roughly $329,000 in early 2020 to over $420,000 by 2024. Think about the person who was playing it safe in 2020. They had cash. They were waiting for things to calm down. They waited, and while they felt safe, the price of the asset ran away from them by nearly $100,000. Their cash sat still, but the world got more expensive. That gap is the tax you pay for fear. This creates a brutal cycle for young people. You save money to buy a car or a house, but the price of the car or house rises faster than you can save the cash. You are chasing a train that is accelerating away from you. The longer you wait on the platform holding your bags of cash, the further away the train gets. This is why saving your way to wealth is a broken strategy in 2025. You literally cannot save fast enough to beat the melting ice cube. So, if saving is a trap and holding cash is a guaranteed loss, does that mean you are doomed? Absolutely not. It just means you have to switch strategies. You have to stop playing defense and start playing offense. You need to stop being a storage facility for depreciating currency and start becoming a machine that generates income faster than the government can print money. We are about to shift gears completely. I'm going to show you the first hack to beat this system, and it has nothing to do with stocks or crypto. It has to do with the one asset you have total control over, and how to use inflation data as a weapon to increase your paycheck. Here's the math nobody likes. You cannot budget your way out of double-digit real inflation. You can cancel Netflix, brew your own coffee, and eat ramen until you have scurvy. But you will only save a few $100 a month. Inflation is eating thousands. Defense has a limit. You can only cut your spending to zero. Offense has no limit. To beat this, you have to stop trying to save pennies and start finding dollars. Quick pop quiz. I want you to answer yes or no in your head right now. Did you get a 3% raise this year? If you said yes, and you felt good about it, I need you to wake up. You didn't get a raise. You got a cost of living adjustment that failed to actually adjust for the cost of living. In real purchasing power, you are poorer than you were last year. If you got 0%, you are in free fall. This brings us to hack number 1, income arbitrage. The most effective hedge against inflation for people under 35 is not gold or Bitcoin. It is job hopping. There is a concept called the loyalty tax. Companies often have strict budgets for raises for existing employees, usually capped at 3 or 4%, but they have massive budgets to attract new talent. According to data from the ADP Research Institute in 2024, the pay growth gap between job stayers and job changers remains significant. People who switched jobs saw median pay increases significantly higher than those who stayed put, sometimes double or triple the percentage. By staying loyal to a company that pays you 2022 wages in a 2026 economy, you are voluntarily donating your wealth to your employer. You have to treat your labor like a business. If your primary customer, your boss, won't pay market rate, you have to find a new customer. This also means shifting your mindset from selling time to monetizing skills. Time is capped. You only have 24 hours. Skills are scalable. If you can use AI to do a task in 1 hour that used to take 10, and you still charge for the output, you just beat inflation by 10,000%. Next time you have a performance review, don't ask for a raise because you worked hard. That sounds like begging. Bring the data. Show them the inflation numbers. Say, the market rate for this role has adjusted due to purchasing power parity. I need a market adjustment to match the value I provide. If they say no, you don't argue. You update your LinkedIn. But let's be real. Even if you double your income, if you take that extra cash and put it back under the mattress we talked about earlier, the ice cube just melts faster. You need a way to lock that value in. You need to convert your dying dollars into something that actually fights back. There is a specific type of good debt that wealthy people love and poor people fear, and it is the ultimate shield against inflation. We have talked about how to earn more, but now we need to talk about where to put it. We need to perform a financial alchemy trick. We need to turn your dying paper currency into a living breathing shield. This is hack number 2, the asset shield. Most people use the words currency and money interchangeably, but they are not the same thing. Currency is a medium of exchange. It's the paper in your wallet. It is designed to move, not to sit. Money is a store of value. It is designed to hold its worth over time. The dollar is currency, gold, real estate, and equities are money. To survive inflation, you must be in the business of trading currency for money as fast as possible. Let's look at the millionaire's shopping list versus the average person's list. When inflation hits, the average person panics and buys liabilities. They stock up on toilet paper, or they rush to buy a car before prices go up. They are buying things that rot, rust, or depreciate. The wealthy do the opposite. They buy assets. They buy the companies that sell the toilet paper. Think about it. If inflation drives the price of toothpaste up by 20%, the person buying the toothpaste loses, but who wins? The company selling it. If you own stock in that company, their revenue just went up, which means your asset value likely goes up to match inflation. You are no longer the victim of the price hike, you are the beneficiary of it. This is why the stock market, over long periods, has historically beaten inflation. You are owning the engine, not the fuel. Now, remember that good debt I mentioned? This is the most counterintuitive part of the entire video. We are taught that all debt is bad, but in a high inflation environment, fixed rate debt is actually a wealth transfer from the bank to you. Let's say you buy a house or an investment property with a 30-year fixed mortgage at 6%. If inflation spikes to 7 or 8%, The value of the dollars you are paying back is dropping faster than the interest is accumulating. You borrowed expensive dollars today, and you are paying the bank back with cheap dollars tomorrow. The bank is literally losing money on that loan in real terms. And you are gaining the asset appreciation. This is how the rich use inflation to wipe out their debts without actually paying them off. A perfect example of this is the post-pandemic housing market. According to Redfin, homeowners who locked in sub-3% rates in 2021 are now paying mortgages that are significantly cheaper than current rent prices in many cities. Inflation drove rents up, but their debt payments stayed frozen in time. That gap is pure profit. Obviously, don't go out and max out credit cards on nonsense. That is bad debt with variable rates. And that will crush you. But using fixed debt to buy appreciating assets, that is how you turn inflation from an enemy into a partner. If you are following this, you realize the game has changed completely. You aren't just saving for a rainy day anymore, you are building an ark. But to keep this ark afloat, there is one final rule, a mindset shift that you have to adopt, or none of this works. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Inflation isn't a bug in the system, it is a feature. The system is designed to inflate because it allows governments to pay off their massive debts with cheaper money. You cannot change the system, and you cannot vote your way out of it. But you can choose to stand on the side of the equation that wins. We are done playing the victim. We are ripping up the old rulebook today. The old rule said, work hard, save every penny in a bank, and wait for prices to come down. That is a strategy for poverty. The new rule is simple. Increase the velocity of your income, dump cash immediately, and buy assets that breathe. You need to stop being a storage unit for dying currency and start being an owner of the economy. I know this feels heavy. You might be thinking, Ben, I'm 24, I'm broke, I missed the housing boom, and stocks are at all-time highs. It's too late. That defeatist mindset is the final trap. In 1980, people said houses were too expensive. In 2010, they said the stock market was too risky. In 2030, you will look back at the prices of 2026 and wish you had bought everything in sight. There is a famous Chinese proverb that says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. In finance, the cost of inaction is always higher than the cost of a mistake. If you buy an index fund and it drops 10%, you still own the shares. If you do nothing, you own paper that guarantees a loss. You have to be in the game to win it. I want to do a quick experiment to see who is actually serious about this. I want you to go to the comment section and type exactly one word, not a sentence. Just one word that represents the asset class you are going to focus on this year. Stocks, real estate, skills, business, just one word. Let's see where this community's head is at. This channel isn't just about watching videos, it is about escaping the rat race before the walls close in. If this script opened your eyes to the silent robbery happening in your wallet, hit the like button so the algorithm shares this truth with more people who need to hear it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.